Welcome, everyone, to episode 409 of the Thumbstick Athletes podcast. I am your host, Dan.
I'm Val.
Corey.
Today's topic, not going to be video games this week. Instead of the after the episode Game of Thrones recap, we are having that for our main segment. If you're coming to listen, you're expecting us to hate on the episode or hate on the season, you won't find that in this.
Nope.
I think we all have our issues with it, but we aren't the people that signed the petition to have it rewritten. Nor did we go on the internet and complain about how bad it was. So if you're looking for that, sorry, you're not gonna get it here.
Nope. Not here.
So yeah, we're gonna be talking about the series finale, the Iron Throne, as well as the season and the show, kind of as a whole. We won't get too in depth with that. We'll just mostly talk about the finale. But yeah, that's our main topic for the episode. Corey, do you have anything you want to tease for later on?
No, nothing new. Didn't play anything new.
Yeah. We are planning on having Fell Seal next week, right?
That might be tough for me, actually.
Okay. Well, we could do the week after then. Maybe we'll do
I'll
E3.
let you know. I'll let you know sooner than later.
Okay. Yeah, we still have to have our E3 prediction preview episode too, so that we could squeeze that in for possibly for next week. I don't have anything to tease personally either. The only thing is Will is going to be joining us after the main segment sometime probably during Nibblebits or our week. So he's been playing a lot of video games lately and has some stuff to talk about for his week, and he will be joining us. So
I think I can tease something for him. I don't think he'd be upset if I said that he's been playing a lot of Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes, he has.
And I have been playing something, well, not new, but we've been playing Diablo 3 as well. Mm-hmm. So I imagine we'll talk a little bit about that. I mean, I know that came out in 2011? No, yeah. It's not that old.
No, 2012, 2013.
13.
Gosh.
What are you doing?
My stomach's grumbling because I drank a sparkling water. I'm trying not to belch in the microphone.
Yeah, you can't.
Got the bubbles going.
Yeah, I do.
You cannot drink a sparkling water and expect to have no belching.
Wash it down with some water.
That's just what happens.
All right, so let's get started on the Game of Thrones episode. So Val took extensive notes again, so thank you to her for taking notes on the episode. I have a hard time tearing my eyes away from it to write stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so.
I struggled with that this time because the last episode when I did this, we had watched it like 4 times already. So this time it was harder because I was a little less sure of the order of things.
Yeah, because we only watched it 3 times.
Yeah.
Which is not a lot for us.
Yeah,
usually.
That's not a lot for us. So, so it was a little bit harder this time, but I did it.
So yeah,
all right,
let's get started.
So here we go. So we see Tyrion, and he's walking through the destroyed, disheveled, gross, bloody streets, burned streets of King's Landing. In this scene, he walks past like a burned man. The back of him, like his ribs are.
It looks like he lost all the skin on his back, so you can see his back muscles.
Yep.
It made me think of what is it like when Mount Vesuvius erupted, like centuries ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's that image of that, like, I don't know, are they like not petrified?
Yeah, petrified.
Yeah, like petrified people. Yeah.
Pompeii.
Yeah, it's Pompeii. I was gonna say, isn't it Pompeii? Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see that. So yeah, Davos and Jon are close behind him. It's really silent and eerie. And that's basically when Jon and Davos and Tyrion kind of meet up, and Tyrion's like, I'm going alone, and Jon's like, let me send, a couple men with you at least, and he's like, no, I have to do this alone, just wait for me. So that's probably all we should talk about for that. Any thoughts on that?
No.
It's creepy.
About what I expected.
Yeah. Yep, the aftermath.
That was the part, most of what they showed in the next week's preview from the end of episode 5.
Right.
That's pretty much all like right from the very beginning of the episode, so.
Yeah. Any more than that would probably be spoilers just from the imagery.
Yep.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. So Tyrion goes off. Jon and Davos come upon Grey Worm, who is lining up a lot of Lannister soldiers, getting ready to execute them. Jon obviously is like, what's going on, and Grey Worm is just like, it isn't over until they're all defeated. And he was like, I'm acting on the Queen's orders, and I was told to kill all who follow Cersei Lannister.
Yeah, Davos makes a good line. It's like, how much more defeated do you want them to be?
Right.
They're on their knees.
Like, what else do you want to do? Like, look around you. Like, yeah. So Jon grabs Grey Worm's arm, and all of the Unsullied point their spears at him. And Davos is like, we should just speak to the Queen. Davos saving the day.
Yeah, Davos once again diffusing
the
situation.
Yeah. And then Grey Worm, like, as they walk away, Grey Worm starts slitting their throats. All those Lannister soldiers that were terrified, clearly. One thing about this scene that stood out to me is that brought me right back to when Ned is in the streets of King's Landing and they all surround him and all have their spears pointing at him. So that was kind of a flashback for me. But Grey Worm's like nutso. And it's really crazy. It's like too bad. Not surprising, but it's too bad.
Hell hath no fury like an unsullied scorn.
You got it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's always been blindly loyal, but to me, it makes sense. It all tracks. Daenerys freed him, right?
Right.
And his people, and also Cersei and Cersei's followers were the ones that killed Missandei. So he's mad.
Yep. It makes sense.
Maybe more mad than Daenerys, some might say.
Yeah, I could say that for sure.
I might say.
Yeah.
Well, I know that's probably not a very popular opinion, but.
No, yeah. No, I could totally see that. Well, because think of, like, his life. I mean, Dany hasn't had a great life, but his life, how awful. Like, all the things they did to them as young kids and the training they've had, like, that's not good for a person. I can't imagine. So, do you have any other thoughts on that? Okay, so we'll keep going. So the next scene, Tyrion, goes down to the crypts of the Red Keep. And, he sees all the rubble and everything that's fallen down, and he spots Jaime's golden hand and proceeds to spot Jaime and Cersei deceased under the rubble. So what do you think of this scene? And he proceeds to cry and slam some bricks and be upset.
I really liked it.
Yeah, I did too.
I did. I could see how it would be, how some people might think it's a little too much. And my first reaction was that, but in like evaluating afterwards and thinking about it and then rewatching it, like it's beautiful to see Jaime and Cersei kind of buried under the rubble together.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very iconic shot and one that will stick with me past this episode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's also heartbreaking for Tyrion because I really think he tried everything in his power both to save Jaime and to save Cersei, as much as him and Cersei did not get along. He really tried very hard to not have Daenerys just burn her up in the Red Keep and tried to smuggle them out of the city, to his own personal detriment, obviously. So I think he viewed that as a failure on his part, a very personal failure, not so much, not having Daenerys' war plans go through the way he wanted them to, but personal failure. Because he always says he loves his family, and I still think he loves Cersei.
Oh yeah.
In his own way, even though they have a rivalry.
Yeah, I think Cersei, because of who she was, I think she loved him too, but like she didn't want to let herself love him openly or whatever because their mother passed away birthing him, and he's the imp and all of that stuff. But I totally agree. Like that's an image that I don't think will ever go away for me. I thought the scene was a little like they dragged it out a little for me.
I would agree with that.
But I like it is like very important, and it was like I was more upset to see Cersei dead than I thought. And I don't know if it's just because of her role in the show and how important she was. And just to be like all this stuff that she did all these years and she's just dead. Like, she's dead under rubble.
Right.
Like, it's just like, whoa. It's
I
really
never,
powerful.
I never hated Cersei like a lot of other people
No,
did.
I never hated her either because she
I
was
was
an awesome
half
character.
rooting for Cersei.
You were.
So.
You were rooting for Cersei.
Yeah,
half.
so
I'd say
there's
more
that.
than half.
No, it was probably half.
Well, she does have endearing qualities, right? She loves her children.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's savvy.
I felt really bad for her too after her Walk of Atonement. Like, I didn't.
Yeah.
I never thought any of that was fair.
Well, that was all her fault.
What?
Yeah, it was.
Well, yeah, no, it was her. Tywin says you're not, half as clever as you think you are. And it definitely, like, yeah, it was her own stupidity that did that. But I still didn't feel like that was deserved. That's about as harsh a punishment as you can give someone.
Yeah.
Well,
and
we
as
know
much
the High
bad things as she did. I always hated the High Sparrow.
Oh God, that guy, his smug face. Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah, I didn't care for him either. The only other thing I'll say about this scene, though, is one minor frustration is when the keep was falling down around them, it seemed like a lot more rubble in
I said the same
no
thing.
escape as when Tyrion was kind of just walking through and picked up a couple bricks and there they were.
Sure.
Yeah, I was like, well, they just stood in a bad spot because there were a couple spots I feel like where there was nothing, and I'm like, they could have survived, but maybe they, in the heat of the moment, who knows,
Right.
Everything's just falling, but
people could turn around and say, well, that's what it's like in real life, like you could just be standing in a bad spot and you die, and it's like, well, yeah, but that doesn't necessarily make for a good story.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, all it took was one large cinder block from the foundation to put you out of your misery.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's hard to show that on TV.
Right.
Yeah. And I think the part that got me too with this is knowing that Cersei was pregnant. Like, just,
oh yeah,
I think that's hard because you don't want to see something bad like that happen to someone, especially if they're pregnant. Like, it just that pulls on my heartstrings. Like that's sad. So
I still found myself doing my theory crafting in my head too, and I'm starting questioning, like, how long can a baby survive after the mother has died?
Had that thought too.
And I'm like, is it far enough along where it could come out? And I don't know.
I know. I had that thought too. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. All right. So next scene. So we see Jon walking through the celebrating Dothraki. Arya spots him, and Jon walks up to see a humongous Targaryen flag, like the biggest Targaryen flag ever.
It almost looked like they took one of the sails from one of their ships and put it on
I actually wondered that. Mm-hmm. And so Jon's, walking up the steps, and Daenerys comes out. Drogon had circled around. This scene was like pretty amazing.
It was one of my favorite scenes.
Oh yeah, Dan was like drooling
when she's walking forward and Drogon's wings spread behind her. I was like,
Yep.
oh my god, that was so cool.
Yep.
It was a little cheesy, but I loved it.
Yeah, it was a little cheesy, but it was really cool at the same time because she's all in her dark garb now. She's all dark Mad Queen.
That was one of my thoughts about this episode too. Is you could tell whoever worked in costume design had played video games, because I felt like it was people's like level cap armor, like their best. Yes. Every character had their coolest armor.
Legendary raid clothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
Their raid gear, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so then I wrote in my notes, the Hitler speech ensues. And she, is just, she's thanking the Dothraki, blood of my blood. You gave me their buildings. You gave me the men in their iron suits, all of that.
And this wasn't, it wasn't clear to me until later on when they pointed out, but I didn't put two and two together that Jon, Arya, and Tyrion all wouldn't understand what she's saying.
Oh,
watching.
I never thought of that. Like, we get it because we get the English.
Right, we had the subtitles.
Yeah, no, that never crossed my mind.
That never crossed my mind either.
And that's why, jumping a little bit ahead, later Tyrion says, like, did that sound like the words of somebody who was done? Because they didn't understand what she was saying.
Right.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it was very, very, very Nazi-esque scenery.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right away we were both like, whoa.
I got more Dwight Schrute when he wins Salesman of the Year.
You pound on the desk.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, so in her Hitler speech, she names Grey Worm commander of all of her forces. Tyrion starts walking up behind her, and that's when she starts to say, like, the war's not over. We're going to go all over the world and liberate everyone, from Winterfell to Dorne. And it's funny because now that you mention, they wouldn't be understanding what she's saying. Jon does, like, whoa at that part because Winterfell sounds pretty close in Dothraki. Yep. So she says, from Winterfell to Dorne, Lannisport to Karth, the Summer Isles to the Jade Sea, come break the wheel with me. That whole thing. And Arya, we see a shot of Arya watching as well. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Tyrion's walking up behind her, and Dan and I were like, oh my god, Tyrion's gonna take her out right now.
Thought he was gonna stab her.
This is over. But, he walks up beside her, and she, quietly says to him, like, you freed your brother. That's an act of treason. He's like, yeah, I freed my brother, but you just slaughtered a city.
Yeah.
And he rips out his hand of the queen pin and throws it down the stairs. And the Dothraki stop their not the Dothraki, the Unsullied, stop their pounding on the ground. And, she has them take him away, Tyrion away. And Tyrion kind of gives Jon a look as he's walking out. That was a great
look. It was like I did my part now.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Out. Back me up with this.
Right. Like, I can't be the only one that thinks this is bad.
And that was awesome when he threw his hand to the queen pin.
Oh, yeah. I loved it.
That was awesome.
Yeah, loved it. And, and then, like, kind of at the end of this scene, Jon and Daenerys just have an awkward stare down for kind of this part.
Yep.
Oh, okay, then I guess there is one more part. Let me turn my page here. So Arya, in her sneaky assassin
in Arya
ways,
fashion.
Yep, sneaks up on Jon without him knowing she's there. And he's like, what are you doing here? Like, what is happening? And he's like, just go wait for me outside the city gates. And he's like, she's everyone's queen now. And Arya says, try telling Sansa that. Like, that's not going to work. She knows who you are. Daenerys knows who you are. And I know a killer when I see one. That's what Arya says about Daenerys. So that's the end of that scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's trying to tell him that she's going to have you killed.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah, and if she doesn't, Sansa is not going to let this happen. So Sansa's life is on the line. Arya's life is on the line because Sansa's is, right? Yeah. Like, by default. So
yeah.
She's basically saying, like, look, I know she's a killer. I don't know. I don't ever get clarity, really, if Jon understands what Arya is or who Arya is.
It doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
Or what she's capable of. I mean, he has to have some idea because she's the one that kills the Night King.
Right.
So he has to have some idea what she's capable of, but probably not completely.
Right. And I feel like she almost doesn't tell him.
Yeah.
Like, she almost doesn't want him to know. She just wants him to treat her like he used to treat her or whatever. But, oh yeah, because she does, when he says, what are you doing here? She does say, I came to kill Cersei. And I don't know, he didn't really seem to overly react to that. So maybe he kind of knew, but.
I wish she had killed Cersei.
Oh, me too.
That's of all my complaints, that might be my biggest one, is how Cersei died.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, moving on.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts, Corey?
Any other thoughts on that whole?
I had a few thoughts. I'm wondering. So I kind of hinted at this, but like I said that I don't think Arya is as mad as everybody thinks she is.
Daenerys.
I'm sorry, Daenerys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fans and characters within the show.
Mm-hmm.
And part of my evidence for that is, like, why didn't she just kill Tyrion on the spot? He betrayed her in a big way. Why did she send him away? Like.
Yeah. So I have to agree with you.
Yeah, she also knows what he's capable of. He's wormed his way out of a lot of bad situations. That's the third time he's imprisoned in the show.
Yeah,
Because he's gotten out of a lot of things. So
he did have a look on his face like, oh, I've been here before. Like, but I agree with you, Corey, and like, you know, the big scene obviously that's coming up. But like, I did struggle with completely thinking that Dany was completely mad. She's nuts. She's Aries. She's, you know, all of that. I did struggle with that a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it's more. It's more than madness. She's unleashing her fury. You know.
Yeah.
More than like you said, being stark, raving, crazy.
Right. It's anger.
It's just it's controlled fury, controlled anger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that she's just deciding to unleash on the innocents of King's Landing.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I don't know if she wanted to make some sort of example of Tyrion to other people, or she thought she could use him for some political gain of some sort. I don't know.
It's just like if they're going with she's completely mad, then just kill him there in front of everybody during the Nazi war speech, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But she didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me wonder. That's all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay, go ahead.
So the next scene we get is Jon talking to Tyrion. So Jon goes to see Tyrion in his...
Beardless says she has not to interrupt.
No,
she has an objective no one really understands, and she's tired of playing games to reach that end.
Yeah.
It's something I think the show really struggles to reckon with. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yep. I agree too. Yeah. So Jon goes in to talk to Tyrion. Tyrion comments, you know, Varys's ashes can say, "See, I told you," or however he says it. And then Tyrion's just doing some like, "Tell me, Jon, you know, is there life after death?" And Tyrion's, you know, going through like, "I strangled my lover, shot my father with a crossbow, now I betrayed my queen." You know, just kind of going through his life's work so far, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I think Jon said, I have just a lot of quotes written. I can't justify what happened, but it's over now. And Tyrion's like, is it? Like, that sounds like someone that isn't done fighting to me. So then...
Hey,
yep,
sorry, Val, not to interrupt you, but
Yep.
while you're talking, I have to give so much props to Peter Dinklage.
Right?
In this episode, he's unbelievable. In this scene, like when this scene was over, we had a couple people over to watch. When this scene was over, I just looked around and I'm like, that was awesome. Like that, just the acting in that scene between, it might be Kit Harington at his best too.
Oh yeah.
He had to do a lot of difficult acting in this episode, and I thought he really nailed it.
Totally agree. And you know what? One of the things I like about this season more than last season was that he was utilized. Like, I feel like he didn't do anything in season 7 at all.
Yeah.
Tyrion?
He had a handful of lines, made a few mistakes, but that was it. But I think he really was allowed to act and shine. And
he carried this episode in of acting, and not even like just the quality of it, but like the quantity. It was a big workload for him for this episode.
Yep, for sure. So he's saying, you know, Tyrion keeps going. He's saying, you know, she liberated the slaves in Slaver's Bay. She, you know, liberated King's Landing. She's just going to go on and on and on. And Jon's like, well, you were counseling her until today. And he's like, yeah, until today. And then I have like the whole back and forth. I didn't realize how much I wrote, but Jon's basically like, you know, your sigil isn't stamped on your body when you're born, because I'd be fire and blood too. Cersei left her no choice. Her friend was beheaded. She watched her dragon fall from the sky. It's easy to judge when you're not in her shoes.
I think at this point, Jon is more trying to convince himself than convince Tyrion. I think part of him realizes he's not going to change Tyrion's mind because of what Tyrion did, and it doesn't matter, you know, because Tyrion's, you know, probably going to get executed at this point. But Jon's really trying to convince himself that what happened was in some way okay.
Right. But then Tyrion says, would you have done it?
Yeah. Which is the same thing.
Yeah.
Who was it? Sam says about executing his dad and brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and Jon's like, I don't know. And he's like, Tyrion's like, yes, you do. You would not have done that. You know you wouldn't have. So then Tyrion continues, the stuff she did in Astapor, the Myronese nobles, the Khals she burned alive. Everywhere she goes, evil men die, and we cheer her on. So she just grows more and more powerful.
More and more powerful, more and more convinced that what she's doing is right and good.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Tyrion's point was there? It got a little muddled for me there because I was wondering, like, well, what does that say about the people of King's Landing? Are they all evil, or is that just him pointing out like she's no longer just killing evil people?
Right. I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Okay.
Because that no matter what she does, it's right. At that point.
Because she has done things that you could argue were right. Well, you could argue they were right because she killed the masters, she killed the nobles, she killed the Khals, and because Tyrion says they would have done way worse to her than what she did to them. I'm
even of the mindset that was it okay to kill all those people? Probably not.
Right.
There's probably a better way of doing that than burning all those people alive.
Right. Yeah.
Well, if we take the Dan Carlin approach of understanding the time and place, I know it's not real world, but like it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah.
I'm even more of the camp of killing all those people in King's Landing might have been a good idea for her, really. Which I mean is awful to say, but I mean nip those things in the bud. Look, they let Daenerys and Viserys get away, and look what happened.
Yeah.
Kill them all, get it over with.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. That's horrible to say.
Robert Baratheon saw all this coming.
Yeah. He did.
Oh, it's funny. Well, I'll save it for the end.
Yeah.
I'll save it for the end. We'll go through the episode. So Tyrion continues, you love her, and I love her too. And then he says, I'm not as good at it as you are.
I haven't loved her as successfully as you have.
Yeah.
Great line.
Great line.
Yep. But he says, I believed in her with all my heart. And then he's, Jon says, love is the death of duty. And that's something that Maester Aemon always said. And then Tyrion responds with, sometimes duty is the death of love. And then he goes into you're the shield that guards the realm of men. Who's really the greatest threat to the people now? It's a terrible thing I'm asking, but it's the right thing.
There's so much to chew on there.
Oh, yeah. Isn't there?
So much.
There's so much. Because there's the love and the death and the duty, and then he goes into the Night's Watch thing, right? Isn't that the shield?
Yeah.
I'm the shield that guards the realm of men.
Yep.
Yeah. So he layers it all on right there. So I'm sorry it came to this. Oh, Jon says, I'm sorry it came to this. He's getting ready to leave. And so Tyrion says, and your sisters, do you see them bending the knee? Sansa doesn't want Dany to be the queen. And Jon, does he say, I didn't catch this part, I don't have a choice or something. And basically Tyrion says, you do have a choice and you have to make that choice now.
Yep.
That was his trigger word later, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so I think Tyrion bringing in his sisters and making Jon realize, well, Arya and Sansa, making him realize, they're not going to be okay with her. This is basically...
And she's not going to be okay with them either. Even if they didn't do anything to provoke her anymore, they already did enough to where they would be viewed as a threat. And one of the things Varys says when he's trying to push for Jon with Tyrion is that Jon's the key to keeping the North and the Seven Kingdoms. The North has no intention on returning to the Seven Kingdoms, but Jon could possibly have that, arrange that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
I mean, he knows there would be war between the North and whatever's left of the other kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure. Yep. So, any other thoughts on that other than that was a really great scene?
Oh my God, it was beautiful. It was really beautifully written, beautifully acted.
It was.
I have so many thoughts. Most of them are thematic, though. so maybe I'll kind of save them a little bit. I just think some of the important lines were the love is the death of duty, duty is the death of love. I think that's relevant and plays into the theme of the show, really.
Sure.
And same with John being the shield. What's the line again?
Shield that guards the realms of men.
Realms of men, yeah. All that stuff plays into a much bigger theme, which I'm still trying to like piece together in my head. I don't know where you guys are at.
It's gonna take time.
It will take time. I mean, the greatest works of literature, a lot of them were awful when they came out, poorly received and forgotten about until people rediscovered them and took the time to really think about them and draw conclusions based on metaphors and things like that. That, to be frank, a lot of times weren't even intended by the original author, but time can make anything seem smart.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm still definitely processing everything.
Oh yeah.
So
I was saying, I think it's going to take me even a good couple of weeks to even process through it. I kind of shut myself off from it on like Monday and Tuesday. Today was the first day that like I actually like let it back into my brain a little bit, and I was like, whoa. I don't know if I'm ready even today to process what I saw. So are we next scene?
Next scene,
Okay, so it's with John. He's walking up to the Red Keep, what's left of it, and Drogon is there under like a pile of ash and snow and whatever. But he sniffs him and lets him through. So we see Daenerys, and she's finally walking toward the Iron Throne. And she, she's taking a moment with it and kind of touches it. And but then we see Jon's figure kind of show up in the background. So, Jon walks up to her, and Daenerys starts saying, I was told it was a pile of 1,000 swords, the throne. What does that look like in the mind of a little girl? And then Jon kind of just rips into like, there were Lannister prisoners out there. And she's like, well, it was necessary. Like, they had to be killed. And he's like, did you go out there? There's little children burned. Like, did you see? And Daenerys is just like, I tried to make peace with Cersei, and she used their innocence against me. And he's like, what about Tyrion? And she's like, well, he betrayed me. And Jon is, reasoning with her a little bit, a lot with her here, and is just like, forgive him, make them see, make them understand, please, Dany. Like, he's begging her. But that's when she says, we can't hide behind small mercies, which for me was actually like the turning point in that in their conversation, that she's like, I can't forgive even little ones,
right?
Little things. So Jon, is saying the world has to be full of mercy. It's the only way. And she's like, oh, but it will be. Like, it's just hard to see something that has never existed before. And he's like, well, how will you know? And she's like, Gimli's getting fired up. She's like, I know what's good. And Jon's like, well, what about all the other people? Do they know what's good too? And that's when she says, they don't get to choose. It's, so be with me. We're going to do it together. We'll break the wheel together. And then Jon said,
it made me think of the Sith from Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's my way or the highway.
Yeah. Yeah.
They deal in absolutes. You're with me or you're against me.
Yep.
Type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So they, they lean in, and he says, you are my queen now and always. And then they hug and kiss, and there's a sword sound of some sort, and it's kind of like Roose and Ramsay Bolton. It's like, who stabbed who? I could tell it was Jon because I saw his arm go up, so I knew it was him, but you weren't sure.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, you weren't sure, but I was.
I didn't believe
certain.
It was happening.
Yeah, I didn't really believe it was either. So yeah, I mean, and it's quite a moment because, obviously he stabbed her right in the heart, and she's kind of just like looking at him like, what just happened? And she looks like she wants to say a million things, and he does too, but then she dies.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk about all that before we get to the rest of the scene.
Yeah, I think we got to talk about that.
For me, I think they were taking the last opportunity to try to convince each other to be on. Danny was trying to convince John to join her. Mm-hmm. John was trying to convince Danny at that point that what she was doing was wrong and to back off a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I think they both realized that they weren't going to sway the other person. Mm-hmm. But I think Daenerys was going to wait to have John killed, whereas John was ready to take care of business at that very time. Mm-hmm. I'm still surprised he did it. I'm very surprised. I never saw that coming. John throughout the entire show is like Ned Stark in that he's loyal and honorable to a fault almost. So I never expected him to be the one.
But how? Okay, so I'm with you, Dan. But just to kind of think this through a little bit, how is that not being honorable?
Yeah, I just picture Ned in that situation, and I just don't see him doing that. And that was his role model for most of his life. He had a few other role models later. But I really feel like in a lot of situations he asked himself, what would Ned do? And I don't know if it's maybe because he didn't realizes that he's, essentially Ned's nephew and not his son, that makes him choose differently or not. That's just a thought I had.
Yeah, I would argue that he did think of Ned.
Yeah.
But obviously being loyal to a fault got Ned where he is, which is not alive.
Yeah. And
so I think it's almost like John's coming out as a Targaryen almost a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, for me, this was John breaking the wheel. Like, this is exactly what Danny wanted.
Yeah.
He did something nobody expected that might not have been in line with his character, although you could also argue that it was in line with his character because
guarding the realms of men.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Jon Snow. And it turns out he's also a very tragic character, just like Jaime Lannister
and Daenerys.
If you accept him as such, then it all makes sense. I don't know. I have so many thoughts, and I don't want to jump too far ahead because they'll make more sense when we get to some of the stuff coming up. But I loved that scene so much.
Yeah. I did too. And
so much.
Some people that I talked to, of course, said that it was too slow. It wasn't exciting. It should have been Arya. The whole thing.
But sorry, Val, not to interrupt.
No, yeah.
I'm just I actually listened to the podcast that I normally listen to, but I wait till after we do this because I don't want to sully my thoughts at all.
Right.
Because they are not on board at all with what's going on.
Really?
And I kind of wanted to be able to respond to some of that stuff. But to me, every word that's said and every look in reaction is useful in interpreting what's going on.
Yeah,
in the scene.
Absolutely.
It's beautifely done.
It is.
It
it's
really
beautiful.
is.
I 100% agree.
And
I thought it was so good.
And one thing that really stood out to me was how, I fell in love with Daenerys again in this scene because she was she seemed so naive and
innocent
and innocent and you can't see that and look at Jon and not just think that must have been so freaking hard for him.
Oh God.
Oh yeah. Well, and
if it.
Go ahead.
If it weren't for Tyrion, saying things like "I fell in love with her too," that's just what happens. In another complaint I heard a lot of people say, "Oh, so I guess Jon being a Targaryen was totally pointless." But for me, that's no, that was him. Because he was a Targaryen, could arguably be explained for why he fell out of love with her because they're related, which in turn was the only way he would be able to kill her.
Right. Yeah.
Because he wasn't in love with her in that way anymore.
Yeah, I think too it's symbolic that she didn't end up sitting on the Iron Throne.
Yeah.
She just touched it and
she
then
just touched it.
Yeah, I know. I loved that she only touched it. She
it was very much this is not enough. You know, her ambition, I think too is one of the things that got her killed. I think, if she had maybe been content with just being ruler of the seven kingdoms, he might have maybe let that go. Even though she had done horrible things to get there, but it's we'll conquer everything, live in this whole new world order type of thing, and again, it's the whole whoever's not with me is against me type of thing that I think is also fueled Jon's decision to take matters into his own hands.
What do you think was the final straw for Jon? Do you think it was when Val was talking? I was wondering if maybe it was when Tyrion said, will your sisters bend the knee? Like, maybe he's thinking, if I don't do this, then my sisters are going to die.
I don't even know if he entered
Yeah.
planning on doing it, or if it came to him during their conversation with each other.
I think he was going to see what she had to say.
Yeah.
And was just going to knew he was going to make a quick decision. And, like,
Yeah.
I think it was an on the spot.
I didn't get the impression that it was premeditated. I think something that she said during their conversation triggered him.
Yeah.
And it might have even been that the innocents don't get to choose what happens in any way.
Yeah.
Which is also something that is echoed in this last episode in a couple different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I just said it. I'd have to listen to what I said, because I did say there was one thing she said that I thought was the turning point, but I think it is, like, they don't get to choose.
Yeah.
Like, it's my choice now. And I think that's when he was like, she's too far gone. Like, and then she just continued, But, like, again, to go to the acting, like, John's, like, crying, like, being tough, it was just superb.
And you could tell there's internal conflict too.
Oh yeah,
in both of them, in their faces and in their eyes. Like, you could tell there's a lot going on in the inside, and it's not just surface level stuff.
Yeah. And it was interesting to me. So I think this is why I struggled the most with the entire episode. Was I kept saying to Dan, like, I was like, I just don't know if he should have killed her, because of that scene, because she was so like, just be with me and love me, like, we're gonna make everything better.
I bought it.
Yeah, like, I totally bought it. And then he stabbed her, and I was like, wait, did she deserve that? Like, is there a chance she could have gotten better? Like, maybe
come around. Maybe she was just still high on her bloodlust from before, and would have been able to. You've been able to change your mind later.
Right, but, like, was it worth the risk? Because if John had waited to see, like, maybe I can talk her out of this,
then she might have.
Then she's gonna kill him,
right?
And kill his sisters, and so it's like
Tyrion.
And kill Tyrion, and kill, like, anybody left, Davos and whoever's left, that wants to make things better. So it was a huge struggle for me.
Yeah, and I was with you 100% on that particular moment, being like, wow, was it the right thing, which is asked a little bit later on, which we'll get to when we get there.
This part was so hard for me. So Drogon shows up, you hear him kind of screeching, and he comes up. He's really angry, obviously. But the part that got me was, like, he's nudging her, like, Mom,
wake up.
Like, wake up, Mom, and
like Bambi.
Yes. Maybe that's because I watched Bambi a lot as a kid. Maybe it's just taking me back to the trauma of Bambi. But, so, he's growling at Jon, and I thought for sure Jon was going to be
roasted
here, yeah. But he instead turns, and Drogon burns the throne, melts the throne into some hot lava, pretty much. And, he kind of keeps looking at Jon, but he doesn't really do anything with him. And, well, he doesn't do anything with him. Then Drogon picks her up, and he flies off. In between, like, a lot of screeching and crying and carrying on. Yeah. So, I don't know. What do we think?
The fade to black.
Yeah.
So I have a thought here, only because this is another scene that I saw a lot of people complaining about. Like, why would Drogon do that? Like, all of a sudden he's, like, super smart. And it's funny, Beardless says in the chat, Drogon has a firm grasp of symbolism, and I'm very proud.
Yeah.
But, like, for all the theory crafting people do, like, why can't you just come up with a reason why Drogon would do that?
Well, and
I can think of a million.
That's what I struggle with, because I'm fully capable of filling in those blanks myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I've done that throughout the entire thing, and I think that's why I don't have as much of a problem as other people do with the series. Yeah, it's rushed. Yeah, they could have fleshed things out better.
Right.
I agree with that. I'm not going to argue with that. But yeah, I can come up with. I've come up with we talked about them. A couple of reasons why this could happen. Could have happened.
Yep. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And wasn't there a character at one point that said that dragons are smarter than?
It's Tyrion.
Yeah.
Tyrion talked about that when he freed Viserion and Rhaegal from the pyramid in Meereen.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. No, I thought it was interesting. I think I wondered why, like, he didn't do anything to Jon. I don't know. I don't know what it all meant, but like you said, like we can fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Like there's
and
plenty
a couple,
of reasons why he burned the throne.
Yeah, a couple schools of thought. Some people think he fully understood that was what, was corrupting his mother into doing what she did. But also some people think he might have just seen the sword sticking out of her, saw the pile of swords over there, and maybe thought that was responsible for killing his mother too.
Yep.
I mean, I think it was meant to be symbolic, and it did work for me.
Yeah.
Just because I had that in the back of my head that dragons are super freaking smart. And also Drogon was up to stuff. We don't know what the hell Drogon was up to. And when he took off a little bit later on with Daenerys, we don't know what the hell he's up to.
Yeah.
There's so much that they don't tell us, which can be a little bit frustrating, but like something like that, it's not, I don't know, it worked for me.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. And Fade to Black, there's people wondering where they took her. Some people think Dragonstone, some people think to Valyria, some people think that they were Drogon was taking her to Ashai to be resurrected by red priests.
I did read that.
So, don't know.
Yep.
Interesting thoughts.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So then a few weeks pass by, and we get a close-up shot of Tyrion. He's brought out and he's taken to the dragon pits where everyone is waiting. So Sansa, Arya, Brienne, Davos, Yara, the new Prince of Dorne.
A few people we don't know.
Some other guys.
Dario was there, right?
Who?
Dario?
No.
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Positive.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was in like half a frame at one point and then half a frame at another point, and
really?
I was like so convinced it was him, but
I don't
Sophie
think so.
said no too.
Yeah, I don't think it was Dario. I didn't notice him. We'll have to look.
Yeah. We will definitely look closer because we'll definitely watch it again. But
yeah, sure. So Sansa is, I guess, Grey Worm is going on and on, like, he's a prisoner or whatever, right?
No, Sansa asked where Jon is.
Oh, he asked where Jon is. That's it. Yes, I didn't write that down. And then Sansa's like, there's thousands of Northmen outside these walls, ready to show you why it's a bad idea to kill Jon Snow. So Grey Worm kind of calms down a little bit. So Yara shares that she's mad. The Ironborn don't forget. And I was with Queen Daenerys. Then Arya just is like, yeah, and I'll cut your throat.
Talk about killing Jon again, and I will cut your throat.
Yeah, I will cut your throat. So Davos interjects here. He thanks...
Again, diffusing the situation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in best Davos fashion. He thanks Grey Worm for the help with the Army of the Dead, says, we wouldn't have made it without you. And then he offers the Reach to the Unsullied. He says, go there, make your own sigil, have your own land. And he just, says we need to find a better way. And then Grey Worm is saying, we need justice, and Jon Snow can't go free.
Tyrion says it's not for you to choose.
Yeah, and Grey Worm's all angry, don't speak, we've heard enough from you. And then Tyrion says, and not for the better of anyone that you've heard so much from me.
Yep.
And then he basically says, the fate is for the king or queen to decide. And they're like, well, we don't have a king or queen. So he says, well, choose one.
You're the most powerful people in Westeros.
Yep.
Choose one.
Choose one.
Not all of the most powerful people in Westeros, but some of them.
Right. So Edmure stands up.
That was great.
Ready to vote himself class president here. Yeah. So he starts to go into his, speech about why he would be a good king. And Sansa's just like, Uncle, please sit. Like, this is not happening, which was pretty funny. But the best part is next. So Sam stands up and he's like, well, if this person's going to rule everyone, why don't we leave the decision up to everyone? And then everyone just starts busting out laughing at the thought of democracy.
Why don't I let my horse get a vote?
Yeah, like I'll tell my dog, I loved that part because when he started to say that, I was like, if this turns into some like hold my hand, let's sing together around the fire and everyone's gonna vote together, I'm gonna scream, because that's not Game of Thrones, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so I was really glad that they all laughed it off. So then Tyrion goes into another big speech here, and he says, you know, what unites people, and I can't remember what the other examples are that he gives. It's, you know, it's not wars, it's not...
Yeah, it's not soldiers, it's not banners, it's not...
Right, sigils,
that, yeah.
It's stories. And he talks about nothing can stop a good story, and who has better stories, you know, than Bran the Broken. He's our memory. You know, he knows the story, he knows the famines, he knows the wars, he knows the successes, he knows all of it. So Sansa is like, well, he doesn't want it, and he can't father children, so that's not going to work. And Tyrion's like, good, they won't torment us. You should know, you know, like, you should know that, you know, a king's son isn't always a good
they're
thing.
They're violent and stupid.
Right.
They're something along the lines of they're violent and stupid.
Violent and stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So Tyrion shares his idea that from now on, rulers won't be born, but they'll be chosen in that exact spot by the lords and ladies of Westeros. So they go around, you know, around the group, and everyone gives an eye for Bran the Broken. Then it stops at Sansa, and I was like, what is she gonna do? So she declares that, you know, the Northmen have fought so many wars for Westeros, and that they will be an independent kingdom as it was for thousands of years before. So, you know, Bran agrees. She's like, you know, you're going to be a great king, Bran, but we're going to be independent. So they all agree, and they, you know, name him Bran the Broken, first of his name, protector of the Six Kingdoms, on and on. And then, so Bran names Tyrion his hand, which is great, and that's when Grey Worm's like, you know, that's
not a punishment.
It's not a punishment. He needs more. And Bran's like, that is justice.
That is his punishment.
Yeah, because he made horrible mistakes, and he's going to spend the rest of his life fixing them. And the look on Tyrion's face was fantastic. Yeah, so I mean, that's probably where the scene ends. Yeah.
So what'd you think, Corey?
It worked for me. I'm gonna just quickly fire out a couple of the complaints that I heard. The one about Sansa declaring the North free. The one thing they were complaining about on the podcast I listened to was how, like, wasn't Yara promised independence? Like, why didn't she speak up? That wasn't right. Why does Winterfell get special privilege without anybody even speaking up? But, like, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, man, if it weren't for the North and Winterfell, you'd all be dead. So, like, let's give them the freedom they earned.
Yep.
I wouldn't have even thought twice about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The other complaint I heard, why does Bran have the best story? Like, were they paying attention to Arya's story or Sansa's story? Or and I'm like, I agree, like, those people all have good stories, but what they're not considering is he's the three-eyed raven. Like, he's got all the stories.
Yeah.
Right. He knows every single thing.
The story of man, like, that's a pretty big story.
Yes.
So that's why I didn't get that complaint either.
Yeah. So for me, I didn't actually love this scene, but just one part of it. I didn't love that Tyrion was just like, from now on, we're just going to pick our king and queen here. And they're like, yeah, that's a great idea. Like, I feel like there could have been a little more hashing out, and I don't know what that would have looked like. But for me, it seemed too easy, maybe. But other than that, I liked the scene. I just didn't like. I felt like that was a little stretch.
Yeah.
But
it was cool to see everybody in the same spot.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Like,
yeah.
All your pals.
Yep. Like everyone
that's
left.
8 seasons.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think at least as far as some of the noble houses of Westeros were thinking is that they actually now have some say in who's going to be the ruler of Westeros.
Right.
Whereas
right.
before it was a little bit luck. Like, if you could marry into the royal family, then you could have some say in what goes on in Westeros. But other than that, you're kind of left out. So I think that, you know, if you're looking at securing some power for your family, there it is. You know.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think that was the thinking. I think to Tyrion, maybe because Tyrion had lots of conversations with Bran. and I think one of the things he was thinking too was Bran doesn't want anything. Right. So he, I think Tyrion had seen what Ambition had done to Westeros, what Ambition had done to Daenerys.
Yep.
Bran doesn't have ambition.
Right.
He's basically Wikipedia.
Right.
A Wikipedia page, you know. So he could look back and see all the mistakes and hopefully help with Tyrion's help as hand rectify those mistakes.
Right.
So I think that was also what Tyrion was thinking when he put up Bran as a suggestion.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like the scene. I like the whole idea of it. I just thought that one part was a little much for me. But.
Yeah. Beardless says, this scene made me realize the only ending I would have been happy with is the ending where the peasantry swarms the dragon pit and kills everyone at that meeting. the bourgeoisie rising up.
Yeah, well, that would have been interesting. Yeah. Everyone's gone.
Varys was still alive.
Oh, I know, right?
Men.
Oh.
Your man Varys was right, though, Corey.
He was right.
Yeah, I have a lot more thoughts about this scene too, and some of it kind of exists outside of the Game of Thrones TV series and kind of references some stuff in the books that I've sort of picked up reading things here and there. One line that really piqued my interest was when Bran said, "Why do you think that I've come all this way?" When Tyrion asked to be king.
Yeah.
And it really stuck with me. And I mean, you can take it on its head and say, okay, Bran, crossed the wall, found the three-eyed raven, did all that stuff, came back, helped save Winterfell, although I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, me neither.
It's hard to see what he was actually doing.
Yeah, we don't know.
And it's like, did he know all along this was his destiny?
Right.
And that got me thinking, well, if he did, he was pretty quick to pick Tyrion as his hand. Is it more about the punishment? I don't think it is. To me, it's more about him just knowing that Tyrion is a capable, fair, just guy.
And that was going to be the only way that Tyrion was able to have power and influence.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
But anyway, going back to the line of, why do you think that I came all of this way? Who's saying that? Is that Bran? Is that the guy before Bran? Is that the guy before that guy? Because I was reading something about in the books, the guy who kind of mind melded with Bran when Bran became the Three-Eyed Raven was a Targaryen who was power hungry at one point.
No, it was Brynden Rivers.
Maybe it was before him then.
Brynden. There's a bunch of Three-Eyed Ravens, but I think the one that Bran meets was Brynden Rivers, who was a bastard of the Riverlands.
Yeah. So
let me double check on that because I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, my thoughts aren't fully fleshed out on this, but that line that stood out to me as sort of sinister, and it made me wonder.
Thank you.
Yeah, it made me okay, so Bran is fine with being king, but he's not going to deal with any, as we see in the small council meeting, he's not going to deal with any of that mortal stuff. He's more concerned about what Drogon's up to.
Right. No, and...
Oh, okay, so Brynden Rivers, it is Brynden Rivers, but he was a legitimized bastard son of King Aegon the Fourth Targaryen.
There you go.
So yes, he it did have Targaryen blood. You're right, Corey.
Yeah.
We were both right.
It kind of made me wonder, was he just power hungry the whole that part of his brain, which is lots of things now, that part was what spoke in that moment, and now he has the throne.
It could be because he was stuck in a tree for however long, not able to move anywhere, but now that he was with Bran, he's able to get around.
Yeah.
Or that he's taken over Bran, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't take that line literally. And this is why I'm so excited to see what happens in the books, because I feel like we're going to get a lot of this context that will explain a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So along those lines, as I've said before, the music does a lot for me. I pay attention a lot to the music because I think it tells the story as much as the acting. So right before he said that, or right after that, the music changed drastically. It went into a different chord, or a minor even, that made it have this little twist. And do you remember? I was like, oh, look. I was like, it's going to come out now. He's evil. I knew it,
Yeah.
So I do think there's something to that. I agree. And maybe the books will do a better job of hashing that out, and we will find out, it is that Targaryen side of him or whatever. But I felt that way too. I felt there was some evil, and even the look in his eyes. I don't trust him. I don't trust him fully.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah. So, interesting. Okay, so the next scene we get is Jon. So Jon is in his cell or wherever he is, looking pretty rough, pretty scraggly. And Tyrion is in there with him and tells him, if you came out, Grey Worm would be mad, and if something else happened, these people would be mad. I can't remember the exact. So we've decided to send you to the Night's Watch. And I was like, no, poor Jon.
Maybe the wheel isn't broken.
Yeah, right?
Everything in circles.
Yep. So Tyrion says, no one's very happy, so I guess it's a fair compromise. Yeah. So, and Jon is still struggling. Like, he says, was it right what I did? And Tyrion's like, no, what we did. And Jon's like, well, it doesn't feel right to me. And Tyrion says, well, ask me again in 10 years.
Yeah, I wanted to jump in there. Because that line, because the whole time it was running through my head, like, did he do the right thing? Did he do the right thing? And then Tyrion's explaining all this stuff that doesn't have anything to do with it. And then Jon, like, just asks, like, was it right?
Yeah. And
I was like, oh my God, like, it just hit me like a ton of bricks when he said that. And I'm like, I'm thinking the exact same thing. Yep. And Tyrion's answer I thought was perfect.
Yeah.
And also kind of meta with the show. Like we just talked about, like it's going to take time for people really to suss this out and pick up on all the metaphors and stuff like that. But ask me again in 10 years if the ending of Game of Thrones was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So Jon's like, well, I suppose I won't see you again. And Tyrion says, all the work that I'm going to be doing as Hand of the King, I'll probably need to come and piss off the edge of the world again, or however he says it. So yeah, like I felt so bad for Jon in this scene because he's obviously still grappling with, what we were grappling with. Like, was that the right thing to do? So like he's still Jon Snow in there, like he's feeling guilty and unsure of himself. And then to have to go back to the Night's Watch after everything he went through with the Night's Watch at the start. So I was really sad for him because I love Jon. I mean, you gotta love Jon Snow, right? I know some people actually find him incredibly annoying, but I love him. So it was just sad. It was sad for him.
I think it was the right move for the kingdom too. I think I told you this a little bit, but having him be a part of the Night's Watch, he inherits no lands, no titles, yada yada. Yeah. So you don't have to worry about anyone trying to do a Targaryen restoration project like they did with Daenerys and Viserys. Varys and Illyrio Mopatis were kind of the head honchos behind restoring Viserys or Daenerys to the throne. That's not going to happen if you're in the Night's Watch because you're forfeit your lands and titles. Mm-hmm. So,
yep.
Well, Sam wasn't held to that though, was he?
I don't know. I don't know if Sam ultimately ended up being in the Night's Watch anymore. We never got really clarity on that. I mean, he becomes
how did he
something
get out?
Else.
He took the black, didn't he?
I don't know if maybe they restarted the Night's Watch because obviously they didn't need it for temporarily there. But I think like Tyrion says, and I think it's in that scene. There's always going to be a place.
Yeah.
They always need a place for bastards and broken things. So I don't know if that's the point.
To my favorite line.
Yes, my favorite line of the series as well.
Yeah, so it's
Yep.
I think maybe they restarted at that point and started fresh, I guess.
Yep. Yeah.
That's my mind filling in the blanks.
Right. Which we need to do sometimes. Sometimes we need to think.
Yeah.
Sometimes things aren't on a silver platter for us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We can't wait until people smarter than us put out podcasts to explain it.
Right. Or someone posts something on social media, that makes us think. But anyway, So we see Jon leaving. There's 2 men from the Night's Watch there ready to take him, and Grey Worm is loading up ships, and he says him and Jon have a stare down contest, and then Grey Worm says, we're going to Noth. the Isle of Noth, and so the Unsullied and the Dothraki are with him?
The Dothraki you saw like in the distance, not up close and not explicitly,
Okay.
but
So
they
we don't
are
really-
loading up into the ship. So
On the ship, right?
Yeah.
To go
I
somewhere.
thought I saw that too, but the
Yeah.
podcasts I was listening to said you never see the Dothraki after the
you can
scene with
Yeah.
Daenerys.
no, you
No,
see
they're
them.
there.
They're walking around in the docks. They're walking
Yeah.
their horses. And
Yeah.
it's not explicit like with the Unsullied, but they're there. Not in the close-up scenes. It's more the far away scenes. But they do walk by a group of Dothraki,
Yeah.
like walking on the dock.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, I feel like a lot of the complaints would be alleviated if people just paid attention.
Pay attention.
Yeah. I've said this every episode, but like people are just like putting too many theories on what the show is. Like
Right.
just sit and watch it and you'll find out it's actually fine. Like there's nothing wrong with it. It's just too crazy, I guess, but this part. So Jon goes to say goodbye to all of the remaining Starks. So who does he say goodbye to first? Sansa. Yep, he says goodbye to Sansa. She's like, I'm so sorry this had to happen this way. And the North lost their king, and he's like, well, Ned Stark's daughter will speak for them, and they couldn't be in better hands, that type of thing. So that was a nice moment. Oh, but this one got me. I can't say enough good things about this part. So Arya and Jon are saying their goodbyes, and she says, I'm not going north, what's west of Westeros? And he's like, I don't know. And she's like, that's where I'm going. And Sansa's like, where will you go? And but then they say their goodbyes. He says, do you have your needle? And she says, it's right here. But I told Dan, like, I cannot get enough of that scene because Arya's Maisie Williams, like, wow. Because that was raw emotion. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like, was that the last scene that she shot or something? Because that was, like, raw emotion. It was so good. Because I just, like, cried.
Yeah.
Because, and we know, like, Jon and Arya have a special bond, I think, more than he did with any of his other siblings, cousins. So, yeah, that was just quite the moment for me. And then... he says goodbye to Bran, and I didn't write anything down about that.
He just says, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you.
Oh, yeah, I'm
to
sorry I
help
wasn't
you.
there for you.
You were right where you needed to be.
Yeah.
Yep. Creepy
Right? Is that what he
stare
says?
eyes.
Yep. What's that mean exactly, Bran?
Yeah. I know, because he says that to Jaime. He says that to Theon, like,
Yeah.
throughout the
Yeah.
season.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's more him saying, like, you were where you needed to be to have happened what happened.
Mm-hmm.
To get me on the throne.
So, to
Yep.
get me on the throne,
Get
to
me
kill
where I wanted to
Daenerys,
be.
I guess.
Yeah.
Real quick, there's a lot of talk about the Azor Ahai prophecy.
Yeah.
A lot of people think Jon killing Daenerys was what the Lord of Light brought him back for, and that was him fulfilling that prophecy. It's not explicitly stated, but a lot of people are thinking that was the case.
Yeah. And again, I think we'll get that context with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
books.
Yep. I hope so.
That had nothing to do with the Night King, but it was, ridding the world of the Targaryen darkness.
Yeah.
So.
So the next scene, it's Brienne, and she's looking through the book of the
Lords.
All the
the
members of the night
Night-
the Kingsguard.
Kingsguard. Yeah, I always want to say Night's Watch. Kingsguard. So she, she's going through with Sir Arthur Dayne, Barristan Selmy's in there.
Yep.
And then she comes to Jaime's story and obviously finds that it isn't finished. So she fills it in, and I thought it was a great moment.
Yeah.
I love, how well she wrote it, just all the details of what he did and showed him to be an honorable man and that he just died protecting his queen. So I thought that was really well done. She didn't include all of the, and the queen was his lover sister thing.
Yeah.
So I thought it was very well done. I really liked that. Yep.
Good stuff.
So this part's great too. So the next scene goes to Tyrion, and he's in the small council chamber, and he's getting all the chairs set up. And it's funny because we haven't seen him do this since like season 1, maybe, that he's and it brought me back to the scene where he drags the chair. Remember that scene, like season 1 or 2. He drags the chair and makes a big production of himself being there. So now he's like kind of nervous, like he's getting all the chairs in the right place, and he's like, no, this has got to be this way. And so no, it's a really neat moment. So Bronn, Davos, Samwell Tarly, and Brienne walk in. And then Sam has a huge book with him, and it's a Song of Ice and Fire. And he wrote it with, remind me of his name.
It was Archmaester Ebros's Chronicles of the War of the Five Kings.
Yes. Yep.
Which Sam named A Song of Ice and Fire.
Right. Yep. And then there's no mention of Tyrion, which is pretty funny part.
That was another thing that either they were messing with him.
Yeah.
Like, just because he played such a big role in all of it. Like I don't even know how some of it you could talk about.
Yeah, you could write him off of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. That is, I don't know. Yeah. So Bran comes in and he says, we seem to be missing a Master of Whisperers, Master of Laws, and Master of Wars. And, Tyrion's just like, those are going to be brought to you soon, which I read something that said, like, if Bran really wanted those people, he should just go back and in time and find a couple people that'll work, and he should bring them. But I thought that was kind of funny. But so Bran asks, is there any word on Drogon? They say no, and he's like, okay, well, maybe I'll go find him. And then Brienne calls Sir Podrick to come and wheel Bran away. So I thought that was pretty cool to see Sir Podrick. So then Bronn, Davos, Sam, and Brienne are talking. So we find out, Bronn is Master of Coin. Davos is
Lord Paramount of the Reach.
Lord Paramount of the Reach, yes.
Warden of the South.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Is he Warden of the South, too?
I think so.
Wow. Davos is the Master of Ships. Sam is the Archmaester. And Brienne is the Commander of the Kingsguard. And they're just kind of, talking, bickering back and forth about brothels and their importance in the grand scheme of things.
So, Corey, thoughts before we get to the last scene?
Yeah, it was a fun scene with the callback to the chairs. I mean, that was fun, and just to see all those jokesters just all together, like running the kingdom is just hysterical.
Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yep. So then the next scene starts. We see Castle Black and the horns are blowing, and right away I got like anxiety. I was like, oh god, something bad's coming, because they always blew the horns, I feel like, when something bad was going to happen. So Jon's back at Castle Black, and he goes in, but waiting there for him are Tormund and the Wildlings and Ghost, which I was really excited. And he pats and pets him. Yes.
2 episodes too late, or 3 episodes too late, in my opinion, but whatever.
Right. I know.
Better late than never.
Yeah, I know. So then it cuts to, it kind of goes back and forth then between, I wrote like their new journeys, like Jon's new journey, he's putting his sword away, and Arya's on her ship sailing with her big Stark banners, and Sansa is, getting dressed to go become the Queen in the North. And it just, it kind of goes back to all 3 of them just kind of doing all their each thing. And I loved Sansa walks down and they put the crown on her head and they do the Queen in the North, and I was like, yeah.
She looked so badass too, with her hair straight and down.
Yeah, she did. And I actually I read an article that I really loved because it makes sense, how Sansa's hair was actually really symbolic, because if you pay attention to Sansa's hair, it really tells where she is in the story, because when she was with Cersei, she had a lot of Cersei-ish hairstyles. When she was with Baelish, she dyed her hair black and wore it a certain way. So like every phase of who she is and what she deals with in the show, is reflected in her hairstyles, but then her hair is finally down. It's the first time we ever see her hair down, really. So it's showing that, like, she has freedom and now she can be who she was meant to be type thing. So I thought that was really cool. And the Queen in the North. I just couldn't get enough of it. It was great. So then the last thing we see is John's, riding on a horse with Tormund with all the wildlings. And they're going north of the wall. Ghost is with them. They go out, away from the wall, and the gate closes behind them. And John just kind of looks back. So I'm wondering if John is surprised about the gate being closed, but we can talk about that. But, so they go on and they go out into the woods and off they go.
Fade to black.
Yep. And that's
So what do you think of the final scenes, Corey?
Oh boy. Okay, so when this episode ended, out of all the episodes of Game of Thrones I've watched, I've never felt compelled to rewatch an episode more than this one, which I took as a good sign.
Yeah.
And I did. I rewatched it the next day.
Nice.
But another thing this series managed to do that, and I still can't really articulate what I mean, but I'm gonna try. Unlike any other form of fiction I've consumed, is when it was all done with, I kind of felt like it was just a footnote to a much larger story. Like everything that happened, I can just like visualize watching in the year 2050, like part 2 of this follow-up. Or like, I don't know, just like it just feels like a small part of a much bigger chronicle.
Well, it kind of is.
I agree so
exactly,
much.
but like I've never experienced fiction that did it so well like this. Like maybe Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's Lord of the Rings-esque.
Yeah, would be the only other comparable, in my opinion, because it's not really about heroes. I mean, these people are heroic, but they're just small players in like a much greater history of
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I just finished the 5th book, the audiobook, today, and I started the Fire and Blood, which is the Targaryen history, and it's very much, it's like a history book that you would like get from the library, but it's of the Targaryen. It's I'm through all of Aegon's conquest in it, and that's just kind of the beginning of the full unification of Westeros.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a small part of a much larger story.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and it just speaks to the rich world that Gurm has created. And I would watch, I don't know what they're doing for the follow-up series, but I would watch any of these characters in another series.
Me too.
We joked that we would just want to watch them do their day-to-day stuff.
Yep.
Like, I would watch that TV show.
Yep. Oh, I would watch it forever. Because I was telling Dan, I felt the same way. Like, it wrapped it up and it felt like there's so much more to see.
Yeah.
Like, what's John going to do? Like, it was kind of like when the gate closed, like I said, he looked back and like, is he really going to go live with the wildlings? Are they just kind of giving him a pass? Like, just go, because Tormund talked about that. Like, you've got the north in you. You should come north with me. Arya, like, what's Arya going to find? Like, there's got to be
west of Westeros.
Yeah. There's got to be great story there. And then Sansa, like, what's she like as a ruler? Is she going to get married? Who's she going to marry? Is she going to have kids? Like, and how is it going to work? Because her kids won't have the Stark last name. So, but like, she's the only one that really is going to carry on the Stark name.
They can't. You can do that.
You can.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
But I think it has to be like it has to be agreed upon that the children
would have.
I don't know what it's called. I know that from playing Crusader Kings.
Oh, okay. Good.
That you can take the females.
I wondered that, yeah. So, yeah, there's still so much that we could learn, and I just want them to keep making a show about all of them now. And, like, what's Bran going to be like? Is he going to show some evil,
I would like to see another, like, I don't know, my personal fan fiction is, like, Bran is somehow the Night King in disguise.
Yes.
And then like Dany's gonna come back and they're gonna have at it again.
Yes.
I don't know. Like there's so many directions it could go. I did want to talk about John because I did see some controversy on whether he was just out on patrol as part of the Night's Watch or if he was abandoning the Night's Watch. And I never saw it as Jon out on patrol. I always thought it was him leaving the Night's Watch and heading north with Tormund to live a happy life. And the reason why I think that it kind of goes back to Tyrion's point about duty being the death of love. So in Jon's mind, like, love is the death of duty. You need, like, duty first. And this was Jon's change. This was his arc, him realizing, that's fine, but at the same rate, duty is the death of love, and I want to find love again.
Yeah.
And the one place he found love,
Yep.
not the one place, but because he fell in love with Dany too, but the one place he found love was in the north with Wildlands. With Ygritte. So if he's going to find it somewhere, that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
That's
And
how
I mean,
that.
yeah, and really, Bran's the king, Sansa's the queen of the north. Like, Grey Worm's gone, as far as we know. So, like, if Jon abandons the Night's Watch, like, who's really gonna be checking on that? I don't, know, Alistair Thorne isn't there anymore. Like, there's no one like that we know of. So, I in my mind, he is gonna just go live a happy life, hopefully. Because
think of all, like, everything he's been through and how where he ended up because of it.
Yeah.
He's still a nobody, essentially.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And, like, I was saying, does he want to be nobody? Because we know he didn't want to be the king in the north, and he knows that he was a good ruler, but he never liked being a ruler. So,
right.
I was so sad for him, but then processing it, I was like, you know what? Maybe he's just happier this way. Yeah. Maybe this is ultimately, like, what's best for him, because obviously he's got a best friend in Tormund. Tormund is all, they're always going to have each other's backs. He's got Ghost, so, and he knows Arya's gone doing her stuff. So maybe this was the happy ending for him.
Happy-ish ending.
Happy, like, as happy as it could be for him, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, and we talked about him being a tragic character.
Yep.
And one point I didn't bring up before that I wanted to, when he asks, like, was it right? I started thinking, like, if anybody has been right on this show, like, known the difference between right and wrong on this show, wouldn't it be Jon?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think so.
Like, he's always...
Well, that was a conversation he had with Theon.
Yeah.
Theon's like, you always know what's right.
Yeah.
Regardless. And Jon's like, no, I don't always know what's right, but
he always does the right thing.
He always, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it just, for him to still be struggling with that, even though, he's batting 1,000 on the difference between right and wrong.
Right.
It's fascinating. It's tragic.
It is.
Also fascinating.
Yeah, one of the complaints I saw that there was too much happy in the ending.
I didn't feel happy.
I didn't feel happy.
No, it was definitely like you said. I think more than anything, I think Game of Thrones was a tragedy.
Yeah.
The main characters throughout the show, Daenerys, dead. Tyrion, his entire family's dead, and he's
a job he doesn't want.
Exactly. He's strapped to the responsibility of governing the country that he doesn't really want to do.
Yep.
And Jon was sent into exile again.
Right.
Like, those are probably the three main characters.
Right.
Through the entire show.
Right.
I mean,
Cersei's
I would
dead.
argue the only one that, well, maybe Sansa, but I was going to say Arya had a happy ending, the life she wants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Sansa got what she wanted, it seems.
Yeah.
It was, I thought, fairly balanced and happy and tragic.
Well, it was interesting to me. Back to the scene where they're all, they all pick Bran, and then Sansa says the North is going to be independent. When she says that and everyone agrees, Arya actually leans around Bran and looks at her and gives her a very, like, confirming look of, like, you finally got what you wanted. Like, you're finally going to be who you were supposed to be and who you've always wanted to be. So I thought that was a nice moment. So definitely look for that when you watch it again, because she did give her a really nice look.
Yeah.
Yep.
But ultimately, I was very, very pleased with the ending.
Yeah.
As I said, my complaints are more that they didn't have more
time.
More time for things. But I understand the wanting to get it wrapped up. I don't think that that D&D were put into a good position with finishing this.
No.
Because the books are a monstrosity. in a good way.
Right.
There's so much characters and they left it like 2/3 of the way through. The source material runs out. So they and the end points were the end points. Like that's supposedly, at least as of right now, like how the Game of Thrones ultimately ends. Obviously, there's going to be some differences, but that's like they had a lot of tying up and putting everything into a neat package, but in 1/3 of the show. And I just don't think that was an easy thing, and I think it ended up being fine for me.
Yeah, I was happy with it.
Yep, me too. It does make me go back to those scenes where I had complained to you guys about, like, those first couple episodes this season where I'm like, why are we learning about, like, Tormund's giant's milk? Like, yeah, it's funny and it's entertaining, but, like, couldn't we use that time to, like, establish Dany's descent or any of these other things that we felt like needed a little bit more?
Sure.
Yep.
And I think we definitely could have. So I would consider that a flaw.
Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But to your point, Dan, like, I also think George R.R. Martin is a super smart guy, and yes, he might have given the Double D's the bullet points of how it ends, but I'm sure he did not provide everything he was thinking of.
No,
nope, definitely
not. He still is interested in writing a kick-ass book because that's his livelihood and his legacy. So I'm trying to put myself in his shoes, and I would definitely save the juicy bits for my story and not the stupid TV show.
Well, you just look at all the characters that weren't even introduced in the show that are pretty important characters in the books. Like, there's a lot of them. Characters that are in the books that aren't dead. They could have a role to play in the end.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Right.
Who knows?
Yeah. One thing, too, that I highly recommend, and is something that we did, is we went back and watched the first episode.
Yep. We're already started on our next watch through. We're halfway through the second episode.
Yeah. The first thing about that is, like, we thought for sure it would be strange, now knowing everyone's fate. But it really wasn't.
I didn't even think of it when we were watching.
Didn't think about it. And the other thing is the parallels to the last episode, first episode to last episode, they line up really well. And there is so much foreshadowing that Bran is going to be the king at the end of this that it's like, whoa. Like, you never would have seen it before.
Right.
But it's totally there. So it was really interesting to go back, and it makes me appreciate, like I had said all along, like, just give it time, give it a chance. And, like, I think that's where you see, having gone back and watched the first episode, you see it just tie up really nicely at the end. So I do really recommend going back and watching, even the first whole season, because the foreshadowing is crazy in there. So
yeah,
good stuff.
Final thoughts, Corey?
Man, what a ride.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very sad it's over, but looking forward to seeing what else goes on in this universe, and I cannot freaking wait for that From Software George R.R. Martin video game.
Yeah.
Apparently it's a Norse mythology.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I don't care. It could be anything. I don't care.
Yeah.
Sure. That was one of my. I think I set that aside as Nibblebits, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to say too, and this is something no one disagrees on, is that the music is sensational. Even the people that complained about absolutely everything, they're like, yeah, but the music was fantastic. So
yeah, I will.
Yeah.
It's universal.
Yeah, I will say publicly, like, I was telling Dan, like, in my reflecting on the show, on the season, the third episode, the Battle of Winterfell, that to me, and it sounds crazy, but, like, it was like almost a life-changing episode for me, which is weird. Like I have moments, I feel like, when I'm like, ooh, that changed me or made me think of something differently. And I think is it The Night King? That's the name of the song, right? The Night King?
Yeah.
The Night King that plays at the end of that episode was so powerful for me because, again, I'm a music person. It was so powerful for me that it kind of just changed me a little bit. And, like, that's really awesome. And in a good way, not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Just because the power of music and, like, what it can represent and mean and all of that. So, that's just my little, like, nerdy confession, I guess.
Yeah.
But
real quick
loved
too,
it.
I wanted to throw in that they just released the full album. Was it yesterday
yeah,
or the
today.
day before? Today?
Or was it yesterday? I don't know. What's
Doesn't matter.
going on.
It's out now. They do a version of Reigns of Castamere with
Really good.
the singer from System of a Down, and I've listened to that song probably 100 times already. It's so good. He has such a haunting voice. It's so
Yeah.
perfect for that song.
Especially like halfway through when he really gets in
Oh
his-
yeah, he
yeah.
belts.
Yeah.
It's so good. At least 100 times I've listened to it. Surge.
Yeah, he's listened
His
to it
name's
all day.
Surge
All day.
Tankian, I think is his name, or how you pronounce his name. I know his name. I just don't know how to pronounce
Yeah.
it. But that's fantastic too. So
Yep. Yeah.
throw that in there.
Yeah.
So
But I love the final episode, and it's gonna take me I'm super sad, and it's gonna take me a really long time, I think, to think about everything. I think another complete watch through is going to be helpful to me too, because I think we're going to see, we just watched the first episode and there's already so many ties that I think as we watch, it's just going to be like, oh, duh, we missed that, or we never would have noticed that, how important that was until now we know the ending. So I think that'll help me get through. I'm really excited to dive into the books too, because I haven't read something outside of something for college coursework I haven't read something to enjoy it since the Twilight series in 2007 or 6 or something. So I'm excited to read a book again for enjoyment's sake. So that'll be good for me.
yeah,
I read about one book a year, so
Yeah.
that's how long it takes me to get through stuff.
Right?
I'll read a chapter a month kind of thing.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. For sure.
yeah. That's something I would like to get back into is reading more. But it's
Yeah,
just
you
so hard
enjoy
when-
reading.
I love reading, but
Yeah, it's hard.
4 kids, by the time they get to bed, if I opened a book and read 3 lines, I'd be asleep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I know. That's my thing. I'm like, maybe I'll bring a book to work with me and on my lunch I'll read it. But I don't want to fall asleep at work either. So I don't know. I'll figure something out.
all right, I should text Will and let him know that we're getting into Nibblebits.
Yeah.
It's a lot longer than I thought we were
Yeah.
gonna go.
Well,
How long did we? Almost an
Game of
hour and a
Thrones.
half.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we had a lot to cover. So.
Yeah.
We did have a lot
So-
to cover,
Yeah.
and we didn't. I mean, I feel like we could talk endlessly about it.
Oh sure.
I would like
Oh,
to
we
do
could.
maybe at some point do a roundtable discussion kind of thing,
Yeah.
maybe for a hangover episode or a bonus episode or something like that.
Yeah. I was thinking I would love to talk about our favorite episodes, top 5 favorite
Yeah.
episodes, or
like
favorite
that.
characters or anything like that. Just because I could go on, and I think it'll help me with my mourning process of letting go of the series and being okay with it ending too. I can
Yeah.
just talk it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Will's ready, so I'm gonna call him in.
Add 'em in.
Add him in.
All right.
Will add.
I will take my leave.
All right. Thanks for
my
joining
watch
us.
has ended.
Bye, Val.
Did I really just say that?
Hey, little
Alright.
Bill.
Hi.
Damn, please.
Let's see if I can get this to work right. I have to fight with this all the time. No, not gonna work right.
Here, I will
the
get out of the
patience.
shot. All right, bye everybody.
Bye, Val.
Val.
Okay. Nibblebits. Corey, do you have anything for Nibblebits?
I don't do those.
That's a
Show
good
up.
point. Okay, so I got a couple.
You guys did Game of Thrones that long?
Yes, we did.
Jesus.
All
Big
right.
nerds.
What the heck happened here? All right, I am just calling up Nibblebits here. So, first one is that PlayStation opens up its own film and TV studio. I saw what they were making as far as shows. I think instead of licensing our IPs out to students, we felt the better approach for us was to establish and produce ourselves. So, let's see. Let's see if I can find what shows they were going to do. I don't know. I'm not going to read this whole article right now, but yeah, some of their more popular franchises are going to be made into show. Oh, Twisted Metal. Thank you, Beardless. Yes, that's the one they mentioned specifically was Twisted Metal. So I think that would make a good TV series, right?
Twisted Metal.
Yeah,
They could make a good cartoon.
yeah, an animated show.
I mean, unless they have a big budget for some cool CGI.
Yeah, I don't know. And then my last one, and Corey is the one that brought this to my attention today. Apparently, this has been in the works and rumored for a little while, but George R. R. Martin is, I think, currently in Japan working with a Japanese game studio to. He's consulting on a video game, and I believe there's a lot of rumors right now that it's a From Software game. So if you could probably take two of my favorite things, George R. R. Martin and From Software, and put them together, I think that's fantastic.
I just saw another rumor about that it's a Norse mythology game.
Yep, that's the consensus for right now, which I think is awesome. So
Norse mythology is hot right now.
yes, it is. AC is going to go the Norse mythology route, right?
Yeah, on top of God of War being the biggest hit from last year.
Mm-hmm. So that's all I got for Nibblebits. We'll move on. Will, how was your week now that you've joined us?
Yeah, I had quite the week, Dan. I don't know if you said off the top of the show why I was missed the first part.
No, I have not. I've not said anything.
Yeah, so I finished school up on last Friday and worked. And then the next day I ended up going to the walk-in at our local walk-in here in Endicott, and come to find out, long story short, I have basically mono and strep at the same time. I don't know if I've complained on episodes that I've been sick for like probably a month and a half now. Yeah, so eventually I was like, you know what, I should get looked at in case there's not something serious going on. And then, lo and behold, yes, I'm very sick. So I've literally been laying around doing nothing the last 5 days now. I've pretty much just been playing video games, watching TV shows, and watching a lot of YouTube videos because I've had no energy to do anything. So
did you say what did you get an official diagnosis? I missed that part.
No.
Basically,
it's strep and mono.
Strep and mono.
The quick story for it is I think I had mono the last month. I'm getting over that now, and then I've gotten hit on top of that with a cold and allergies and all of that.
Ooh.
So yeah, but the thing that sucks is the throat steroid that I got. It causes insomnia, so I have refused to take it because I don't want insomnia.
Yeah, not now. Now's not the time to have that.
I need to sleep, not be awake. So I've just been kind of toughing out the sore throat. My sore throat's actually gotten a lot better now. It's more of the body aches, no energy. Like I literally do not have energy at all during the day. So I've been sleeping a lot, headaches, migraines, stuff like that, all the fun stuff. But it's gonna sound bad. It's been nice not having to do anything.
Yeah. I don't know what that's like.
Because like I'm not dying to the point where I can't do anything. Like I can't play video games. So like I'm able to do that stuff. But obviously I'm not working or having to do anything really around the house. So just been kind of existing within the last couple days. But I started watching a new anime. It's Black Clover for anybody who is an anime fan. I know the Japanese really like it, but a lot of the Americans don't like it. I actually really enjoy it so far. I'm on episode like 12 of that, so that's pretty cool.
Why doesn't America like it?
I can't tell if it's anime snobs saying that it's a bad anime because it's kind of run of the mill. I've talked about My Hero Academia a lot on the show. Black Clover sort of has the same premise. In My Hero Academia, everyone's born with a quirk. In Black Clover, everyone's born with magic. And the protagonist of My Hero Academia doesn't have a quirk. The protagonist from Black Clover doesn't have any magic. But they both find their own ways to being able to do their thing. I really like it so far. A lot of people find the main character in Black Clover annoying. I actually think he's hilarious. So, Eric, I remember Eric talking about in My Hero Academia, the main character cried a lot. In this one, the main character yells a lot.
Oh, okay.
So
Nice.
they're kind of like, I can see why people think it's kind of like a run of the mill sort of anime, but I've really liked it so far. There's a lot of cool things that happen in it. So, been doing that and playing. I'll talk about the ton of video games I've been playing and what we played. That's the main reason why I really wanted to be on, is because I want to talk about a little game that I've been playing.
Okay.
But I am going back to work on Saturday though, so.
So you got to get rested up before then.
Yeah, I think I'll be all. My shift on Friday was going to be 6 p.m. to 4 a.m. and I was like, no, that's not going to be my first shift back.
Yeah.
So my first shift is going to be noon on Saturday to, I think, 4 or 5. So that's what I'm going to be going back to instead of a 10 to 11 hour shift. So, as I said, as much as it's been nice doing nothing, I need to make money because I want to buy my computer. So
sure.
So yeah, I've had a pretty terrible but also kind of all right week entertainment wise.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Corey?
Not much to report, other than wrapping up Game of Thrones. Trying to think if I did anything fun or interesting, and I don't think I did. Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about is we've been subscribing to Dinnerly. It's a meal delivery service, but its differentiator is that it's about half the price as the popular ones, like Blue
really?
Apron, whatever the other ones are. So we pay 28, 38. It's basically $5 a meal, and we get 3 meals, and then there's shipping on top of that. It's $5 per person per meal. So
Okay, well that's not bad.
yeah, so it's like $38, and we get 3 dinners out of it. But it's all like, basic ingredients, and you have to make it and everything, so you still get to eat home cooked meals. It just eliminates the thinking about what you're gonna make and finding a recipe, like all that stuff, shopping for it.
Sure.
So it's kind of nice. We'll go and we'll get our staples, and then we really only eat probably 3 dinners a week anyway. So it really takes care of all of our dinners, and sometimes we'll make it for lunch if we're both home or something. But it's really convenient, and everything I've had has been really good. I've been full after every meal. I really have no complaints. It's still a little bit more money than if you were to shop for the groceries yourself.
Yeah.
But for me, because it's not as much as a Blue Apron, it's worth it. It's worth the money to eliminate that headache of figuring out what you want and shopping for it and finding the recipe and all that stuff. So I do recommend Dinnerly. Give it a try. I think I can send free boxes after every 2 shipments I get. So I've already sent 2 free boxes to people, but if you guys are interested, I'm sure I could send one your way at some point.
Definitely be interested in that.
I'll keep you posted.
Mom and Dad just got theirs today. Their first box. Yeah.
Nice.
We're looking through it. Looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. It's nice. I'd never realized how that stuff comes packed. It's in like ice packs. And
Yeah.
They just ship you ice packs every week, and I'm like, oh man, free ice packs. But then after you have like 6 of them, you're like, well, I don't need all these ice packs.
Sure.
It was actually funny. Mom was like, I don't know what to do for dinner, and then like we looked outside and there was the Dinnerly. Like,
Perfect.
Yeah, solves that.
There it is. Yeah.
But we didn't end up using it, so I think it's tomorrow's that's going to be on the docket.
It's funny too, because I'm a marketing guy, so I normally don't click any ads or any, like, nothing really appeals to me. I think all the digital marketing is all bad, but this one, like, the message just caught me immediately, and it's like, I forget exactly what it said, but it was like, tired of expensive meal delivery services? Try Dinnerly. And I'm like, that sounds exactly like what I want. So, because we've tried Blue Apron and stuff, and really enjoyed it when we had the free trial, but then you get that first bill for like 60 something bucks, and you're like, ooh,
yeah,
this is not worth it.
No, so. They're really expensive.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else, Corey?
Nah, nothing interesting. I'm boring.
I don't have anything fun or interesting to talk about either. So we'll get into what we played. Will, what have you been playing?
So I want to talk Horizon Zero Dawn, and Corey, you can join me too a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, so on Sunday when I woke up, I was like, okay, I want to play a video game really bad because I've got a lot of free time coming up this week. So I was looking at the games. What made me kind of decide Horizon Zero Dawn was because I had started it once before and never got very far. I put maybe 2 hours in. So I was like, let's go back into that one. I want to kill some dinosaurs right now. My whole time playing the game, I said to myself, I can't believe the makers of Killzone made this game
Yeah.
because it's
Good
just
point.
a first person shooter story. You go from set piece to set piece, kill the character, multiplayer shooter. The fact that they were able to make this game blows my mind. And that's just me not giving a developer any credit, but the game's incredible. And I think it might be because I just came off of playing it. It might have one of the best stories in an open world RPG that I've played. I don't want to get into spoilers for anybody who hasn't played it, but the story, like, when I started it, I was like, okay, like, what's these dinosaurs? Something happened. They took over the world. The world's just, overgrown now because of it. But it is not that at all.
Right.
The story actually goes a direction I didn't expect, even think about being a possibility, which is really, really cool. And there's a lot of moments that kind of tugs at the old heartstrings too. I would say probably about halfway through the game is when you start it's basically like a tangled web, and you start unraveling it the more you play it. And like some of the stuff you see that happens, and like what the characters did for the world, it's a crazy story, and I loved it. And I think Aloy is one of the better main characters too. I think she's an awesome protagonist in the game. She's just a compassionate and no nonsense type of character and gets stuff done, and I love that. There's none of that annoying side stuff like, ooh, let's flirt with X amount of characters. There's like none of that in there. It's just her getting to why she's doing what she's doing. And her circumstances are really tragic too, which is another really cool thing.
It never threw you off that she was voiced by the same person that did Chloe?
To be honest, I didn't even realize that until
Really?
I was watching a video. Yeah.
I couldn't shake that.
I'm pretty far removed from the first Life is Strange, though. I think you played Horizon a little, like, a way closer.
Way closer. Oh, definitely way closer.
Yeah, I've played, what was it, the Life is Strange prequel? And Chloe had a different voice actor.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I actually wasn't thrown off by that at all. Didn't even really realize it. Another cool thing that the game does really well, and I know this game's a couple years old, but really none of us have gotten too far into it other than Corey, I want to say, is how the robotic dinosaurs, you really are up against it with some of them where you don't know if you're going to be able to take them down or not. Mm-hmm. And that is a really cool thing. Like I should say I beat it.
Hey.
Yeah,
well
so in 4 days I put 40 hours in.
Nice.
30 for the main story, and then 10 for the Frozen Wilds DLC. Some of those Frozen Wilds monsters that you fight, like the bears, like they bring it, man. Like I was like, and because like of the state that I'm trying to play the game in, where I'm slow, tired, no energy, no reflexes, it's just like I'm getting stomped by these like Fireclaw bears. I'm trying to like dive around them and whatnot, and like it makes the battles really, really intense, and it's really fun. To be like, man, like a 15-minute arrow shooting, like trying to set traps for this monster to walk through. It's really cool. It kind of makes me think I might like Monster Hunter World, if they're at all similar. I don't know if they are, but
you didn't
fighting
play
giant monsters.
A little bit.
You didn't play Monster Hunter World?
No.
Really?
Eric and I both bought it thinking we were gonna play together, and we never did.
You should play it. It's really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
I'm considering it now because this game, like, I never thought I'd be that interested in it, but like playing this game, I was like, holy crap, like this might be something I'm interested in. But I'm really excited to see what the sequel is, because there's going to be a sequel, judging by where the story went, and it ended with a satisfying conclusion, but it also left open to they definitely can go in a lot of different spots for a sequel, and I would guess it'll be a PS5 launch title. It kind of is what I'm thinking what'll happen, because it's been a few years since they've think it's been 2 to 3. How old's Breath of the Wild? 2 years?
Yeah, Breath of the Wild came out. Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
So 2 years ago. So
little,
another
little
2
over
years.
2 years.
It's another 2 years for the PS5. 4 years. That's probably enough time to make a game, I would imagine.
Sure. Plenty of time.
Plenty. So yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see where they're going. Honestly, it's not just the bias that I've played it, but like this game, I could see maybe being in the top 10 because like I'm looking at my PS4 right now and I'm like, man, I want to play more Horizon Zero Dawn, and I've put 40. Like my character's level 50. I've put 40 hours in it. I've done a lot of the side quests, but I'm like, I want to go collect the dyes in the world, like stuff like that, the stupid collectible stuff, which I never want to do because like all my backlog games, I've just been cycling through them to try to get them done. But not this one. Like I want to keep playing this one. So,
Nice.
I'm trying to figure out what my next game's gonna be. It's either gonna be God of War, Persona, or Fell Seal. I don't really know.
It's going to be Fell Seal.
I think it might be Fell Seal only because it's different. It's a different RPG.
Yeah.
Like God of War, while it's not gonna be the same combat wise, it's gonna be that same like snowy open world sort of thing. Persona has a chance as well. I could definitely probably play those two in tandem with each other. So that's probably what I'll end up doing. But yeah, me and Corey have also been playing Diablo, which has been fun.
Yeah, it has been fun.
Corey's character has been doing all the killing though.
Oh my god, so I've ponied up for the $15 to be able to use the Necromancer class, and it's just cleaning up.
Worth 15?
I mean, that stuff's never really worth it to me. I don't know. I was in the right mood, and I felt like playing a Necromancer, so I ponied up.
Yeah, no, I go in there and just take the hits and like do a little bit of damage, and then Corey comes in and just blows up a body and kills everybody.
Nice.
Yeah, just been min-maxing my damage output.
It's I'll just be in the fray fighting, and Corey will blow up bodies, and it'll be so much like blood and guts all over the screen I can't even see my character. And I just see we have a 50 kill streak going.
Nice.
Man, Corey, good job. We're almost done with Act 2.
I'm playing on hard difficulty.
Yeah,
And it's easy.
super easy.
We took damage once.
Really?
Like actually noticed. We actually had to use health potions.
Wow.
Once.
Yeah, I was telling Corey I didn't know what the health button was, and I was like mashing a bunch of buttons on my keyboard because I didn't know. It's been so long. I picked a Crusader, so.
Okay, yeah. One of my characters was a Crusader.
I played the Crusader before, and they're a lot of fun. And I didn't want to be a squishy character too, because I foresaw us having difficulty, which we haven't. So I was like, yeah, I'll just be a tanky kind of holy fighter and go in there, and I'll let Corey kind of destroy everything with his death. So, but you know, looking at it, I could have probably been another squishy character, and we still wouldn't have had issues. But that's generally what I've been playing. I feel bad not having played Zero Dawn until now because I feel like this would have been my number 2 for the year that it came out, or game of the year.
Definitely.
Probably would have won more awards too because that game it's honestly amazing. That world, oh my god.
It's just a world you want to spend as much time as possible in.
Yeah, honestly, like I find myself like in playing on the PS4 Pro, unbelievable to look at.
Oh, I bet. I can't even imagine.
It's just like everything's picture like the photo mode worthy. It's amazing.
That would come to Xbox.
No, never.
Never happened.
Yeah, the Sony exclusives this gen have been unreal. So, yeah, that's kind of what I've been playing. That's about it.
Okay. Corey.
Nothing other than what Will talked about with Diablo and then more Fell Seal, but we're going to do an episode on that. I'm pretty close to beating Fell Seal. I'm at the point now where I'm discovering that there are some side things to tackle that I didn't really realize were there to begin with. That game is so cool, though. If you played Final Fantasy Tactics or have any interest in playing a strategy role-playing game, I highly recommend it. It's very good.
I've been watching enough stuff from the game that I think I've gotten past the character models.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think I might have mentioned it to you or maybe Dan, but like very quickly did I forget what the character models were like. Like
Well,
I just stopped noticing. I think it's, and a lot of it I think is just because you're so used to seeing in that like style of map a Final Fantasy Tactics like sprite.
Yeah.
It's just not the case, so it just takes a little getting used to.
And some of the character classes look pretty cool too. Like I talked about the Plague Doctor with you. Like I think that was really cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
A lot of cool...
Plague Doctor, like is it like the one in Darkest Dungeon?
I forgot that was a class in Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. As I told Will, I didn't really utilize a Plague Doctor at all. But my favorite class is a Peddler, and they can set traps that are really cool. The trap I like to set is the alluring trap, which if a character steps on, they can't see where you set them, but if they step on it, it immediately ends their turn and casts charm on them.
Oh,
which
cool.
has been very, very effective for me in the late game difficulty stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, there's a lot to love about that game. I highly recommend it. I mean, even if you're not a big role-playing game fan, I think if you can appreciate the strategy aspect of it, you'll enjoy it.
Very nice. Anything else, Corey?
Nah.
Okay. The only thing I played this week was Mario Odyssey still. I did not get a lot of gaming time this week, and whenever I had a few minutes here and there to play games, I just played Mario Odyssey to collect moons. I'm in the Bowser Kingdom. I think I have 2 moons left in the Bowser's Kingdom. Then I have the moon, the darker side of the moon, and then Mushroom Kingdom left. So getting close.
Dang.
I probably have 800 moons if I had to guess.
Get it done, Dan.
Yeah, I will.
100%.
100%. So that's all I played. Let's do feedback. I will have something new because I'm going to start Fell Seal this weekend, and I do believe we're going to be playing some Civ, right?
I hope so.
So I will have played something different for next week. I swear it.
I actually think I'm going to buy Fell Seal for my PlayStation right after this.
Oh, I forget it's on consoles.
I was going to play it on PC, but my body aches so bad right now that sitting at my PC for long stretches of time kind of hurts, so I just kind of want to spread out.
Don't blame me.
I agree.
So.
All right, feedback. So we got one piece of feedback from Idaho Jake who says, "Hey guys, hope you're not done recording before I send this, but I am fine with the finale of Game of Thrones."
Good man.
Yep. He says he likes how a particular family that I won't spoil is in control at the end, because I still hold out hope that will someday watch it and hopefully enjoy it.
I actually admitted to Corey, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday that I am going to watch it at some point. I just don't know when.
Cool. Yeah.
Could be 10 years. I don't know.
Someday.
No.
Maybe.
You're gonna start it next week, and we're gonna start a podcast on it, on Will's first watch through.
Yep. 1 episode per episode.
We can call it Will Begins His Watch.
I like it.
Or just call it Will's Watch.
Will's Watch.
Has a little better ring to it.
Yeah. He says, the more I play Rage 2, the more I'm liking it. It reminds me of a realistic Borderlands. Well, that's all I've got, so have a great night.
I almost bought Rage 2. I'm actually kind of interested, but I know this game's going to be like $10 in a couple months.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. I've thought about getting it, but money's a little tight, and I know I wouldn't really I'd only play it on PC, and I just don't. It's not easy for me to game on my PC right now, so I'm holding off. So, and I know I'm getting Mario Maker 2 next month, so that's why I haven't gotten it yet. But I will at some point, like you will. I'll probably wait till it'll be like $30 over the summer. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah.
So, because Bethesda games usually go on sale pretty quickly, and I want to get it from Steam. So any of the sales that are like Green Man Gaming or whatever, it's through the Bethesda client, which I don't want anything to do with. So,
is Mario Maker coming out next month?
Yeah, June 28th, I think.
Oh man, didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, my family's excited for that one.
Have any of you guys heard of Plague Tale Innocence?
I've heard of it.
Heard of it?
That just
I kinda
came out,
want-
right?
Yeah, I kind of want to get it. It looks cool. I think it's reviewing well too.
I
I've
wish,
had a renaissance with gaming, so
I wish I had the time and money to play all the video games, just all of them.
Yeah. Gotta start streaming, Dan. You
I
gotta
know.
do 24-hour streams every week.
I would like to do some streaming. I'll start small, but well, we'll probably stream when we play Civ, right?
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
that'll be some streaming. So Idaho Jake is the winner. I don't
By
have my
default.
I don't have my Chromebook, but let me call up the. Oh, I don't know if I can call up the thing.
oh.
Oh no, I'll just do it on the browser.
Do you want me to roll?
Yeah, you can roll.
Roll Tide. That reminds me, I watched the first episode of The Bachelorette.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
I will not be watching the rest of it, but did watch the first episode.
Who's the Bachelorette?
And a B.
Anna B.
No idea who that is.
You watch. No, you should.
Google search.
She's the Alabama. She was Miss Alabama a few years ago.
Anna B.
Will, are you
Oh.
rolling?
Yeah. First is 87.
87.
Hannah B.
Hannah B.
Yeah, okay. 24. Oh, my age. Much more successful,
She's 24.
apparently.
87
B.
is Back to the Future the game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Corey, I used to be able to watch that, but now when I watch it, I'm just like, oh my god, all these people are idiots.
It's funny
I
because
can't get past that.
in the premiere episode, the Hannah B found out that one of the guys still had a girlfriend, and she was like giving him a hard time, and he started like giving it right back to her, and he was right about everything he said. He's like, well, you just got out of a relationship with Colton, and she's like didn't know what to say because she was in the last season of The Bachelor where Colton was the Bachelor, and she made it far in the show, and she like stammered and didn't know what to say, and she's like, it's not the same, and it's like, well, yeah, it kind of is, and he's right.
Yeah. Anywho.
A quick fun fact about her: her favorite type of music is country.
Girl from Alabama likes country music. I don't buy it.
Me and her wouldn't work. I hate country music.
What?
It's
You
the
gotta
worst. The
move to a
worst.
city, and then you start to appreciate country music.
Why a city?
Well, I don't know. When I was in New York, we found a country music bar, and it was always the most fun bar.
Uh-huh.
And so like it sort of endeared me to country music because it also reminded me of my upbringing.
Oh sure.
You know,
We're
when you come from a
surrounded by
small
it.
town.
Yep.
Yeah, when you come from a small town, it's like a little haven to be in a place where people love country music.
I like or find something redeeming in every genre of music besides country.
What about like Johnny Cash?
There's a difference between like bro country and like country, California country. You know, there's different styles of country. The
Okay,
bro
yeah.
country stuff I can't stand. The like party, like Florida Georgia line, I hate that stuff.
Took my tractor.
That stuff I like.
Ugh. 27, Dan.
27.
It's the party country music I don't like.
Like
Drinking a Coors and jumping in the hot tub. Like that stuff I hate.
27 is blank, Will.
95.
95. Tales from the Borderlands.
So I work at a Mexican restaurant that doubles as a nighttime club. And when country music comes on in there, I'm always like, this feels weird. In a club with 19 to 28-year-olds with just like country music playing, does not work for me.
Well, that's what I mean with the bro country though. Like it's like pop country nowadays.
Like Taylor Swift.
It's not like what mom and dad used to listen to when we were kids, like Reba McEntire and Trisha Yearwood and even Shania Twain. Although
Yeah.
probably be about as pop as they come when she was popular.
Yeah, okay, I see your point, definitely. I guess I hate bro country, and I wouldn't still go out of my way to listen to like real country though.
Oh, no, I don't think I've ever purposely put it on.
Country Station. 66.
66. Order 66 is Train Valley. Some decent games on this
That's
list.
a good one, yeah. That's the, like, sim one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
41.
41. 41 is Rive, Wreck, Hack, Die, Retry. Don't know that one.
And last 136.
136 is Serious Sam 3 Beefy BFE. So Jake, your choices are 87 is Back to the Future the game, Tales from the Borderlands, Train Valley. What was 41 again? Rive, Wreck, Hack, Die, Retry. And then Serious Sam 3 I keep saying BFE. BFE.
Beefy.
So let us know what you want. Next week's episode is either going to be probably an E3 preview if we're not going to do what's its face?
Felseal?
Felseal, yeah.
We gotta do Felseal.
Are you going to play it?
Yeah, probably.
Because we can wait another week. That doesn't bother me if that's what you guys want to do. But it'll be one of those two will be our episode for next week.
I just have a rough week next week.
Yeah, I mean, even if you what?
Never mind then.
Do you know what your work schedule is next week? Will?
Yeah, I'm good Wednesday.
Is it the same? Because I would say we could, have it be on it. Well, no, I like to stick to the same day. So.
Well, if Corey's work schedule is rough, we can just do Felseal the week after. The week right before E3 and do the preview next week.
Okay.
I'll let you guys know. Like, ask me again on, like, Monday morning or something, and I'll let you know for sure.
Okay.
Works for me. All right. Any other thoughts? Nothing.
No.
All right. That'll do it for episode 409 of the Thumbstick Athletes podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
Well.
Corey.
Thanks for listening, and get out of my basement.